Welcome, everyone. So, in today's session, we're going to take a really deep dive into the Mandarin language. We're going to move way beyond just memorizing flashcards and actually look at the architecture of the language itself. We're going to deconstruct something as simple as color to uncover the logic, the history, and the culture that's really at the heart of Mandarin. So, I want you to think about this for a second. What's the real difference between just knowing a word and truly understanding it? I mean, anyone can memorize that Hong Se means red, but that's just scratching the surface, right? Why is the word for red Hong Se? What story is that character Hong telling us? And how does its meaning completely change depending on the culture? That's what we're aiming for today, to get you from that rote memorization to a really profound, logical, and cultural understanding of the language.
All right, let's dive right in. You know, the key to unlocking a huge chunk of Mandarin vocabulary is realizing that words are often built like Legos. They're constructed from smaller, meaningful pieces. And for colors, our foundational piece, our common denominator, if you will, is the character S.
Okay, so this character is pronounced S. Now, you really have to pay attention to the tone here. It's the fourth tone. That's a sharp, falling sound. Let's try it together. S. It's like you're making a firm, definitive statement. S. This character is going to be our anchor today. It acts as a kind of label, telling us, hey, we're talking about a color, and you're going to see it pop up again and again.
And this slide just illustrates that pattern perfectly. Take a look at these examples. I'm going to say them slowly so you can hear it. 红色, 蓝色, 绿色, 黄色. You see? In every single case, 色 is tacked on at the end, classifying the word before it as a color. This kind of logical modular structure is a core principle in Mandarin. Once you get this pattern down, the whole system starts to make a lot more sense. So, now that we've got our foundation, we can get to the really fun part, the deconstruction. We are going to take each of these colors and pull them apart, piece by piece, so we can understand their sound, their structure, and the logic that's literally built into the characters themselves.
We're going to start with probably one of the most important colors in Chinese culture, red. The word is 红色. Now listen really carefully to how the tones play off each other. 红色. The first character, Hong, has that second tone, the rising one, and the second character, Se, has the fourth tone, that falling one we just talked about. 红色.
Now let's just isolate that first character, Hong, for a second. As you can see here, the pinyin is H-O-N-G, and the crucial part is that second tone. It's a rising tone. A really good way to think about it is to pretend you're asking a question, like, Hong? Your pitch should just naturally go up. This little detail about the tone is absolutely critical, and we're going to come back to why in just a bit.
So, why is the character built this way? Well, this is where it gets interesting, because it's not random at all. On the left side, you've got the radical si, which means silk. And on the right, you have the component gong, which means work. But in many characters, it also gives a little hint about the sound. See how gong sounds a bit like hong? The logic here is all about history. This character is directly tied to the ancient, very valuable process of dyeing silk with these beautiful, vibrant red colors. The character itself is telling a story about craftsmanship.
All right, let's move on to our next color and see how this pattern keeps going. Here we have blue, 蓝色. And again, listen to those tones. It's that same pattern, a rising second tone followed by a falling fourth tone. 蓝色, 蓝色.
And here's the breakdown for lan. Do you notice the pattern? Just like Hong, it uses that rising second tone. Lan? Again, make your pitch go up like you're asking a question. Seeing these kinds of patterns can really help lock these words into your memory. Now, the logic for this one is just fascinating. The radical you see on top, cao, that's the grass radical. So you might be thinking, what does grass have to do with the color blue? Well, it's because this character has botanical roots. It originally referred to the indigo plant, which was the main source for blue dye. The character for blue literally grew out of the ground. It's a direct connection to the natural world. Next up is green, 绿色. Okay, now this character has a sound that can be really tricky for native English speakers. It is not lu, it's lü. To make this sound, you have to round your lips really tightly like you're about to whistle, but then try to say the E sound from inside your mouth, lü. It's also got that falling fourth tone, 绿色. Let's practice that oo sound again. It's so important for speaking clearly. So here, we've isolated the character lu, and I want you to look closely at the pinyin. See those two little dots over the U? That's your signal for that unique vowel sound.
And unlike the last two colors, this character has the fourth tone, just like S. It's a sharp downward sound. Lu.
And hey, look at this, we've come full circle. The radical on the left is our old friend C, the silk radical. So just like with red, the character for green is fundamentally tied to the ancient craft of dyeing textiles. This just goes to show you how important colored silks were in the culture, so important that they're literally part of the words for the colors themselves.
Okay, our final color for this deep dive is yellow, 黄色. The pronunciation is 黄色. You got it, that rising second tone on the first character and then the falling fourth tone, 黄色.
And here on the table we see Huang all by itself. So this is our third character today with that rising second tone, right along with red and blue, Huang. Getting these tones right, it's not just about sounding good, it's about making sure people actually understand what you're saying. And that brings us to our next really crucial section.
Let's shift gears for a minute. Let's move from the visual structure of the characters to the auditory part. Because in Mandarin, the tone isn't just a little bit of inflection, it's a core part of the word's meaning. If you get it wrong, you don't just sound a little off, you can be saying a completely different word. Let's just use red as a perfect case study. The correct way to say it is hong, second tone. Listen to how my voice goes up. Hong. Now, a super common mistake students make is to use the first tone, which is high and flat, like this, hong. Can you hear the difference? Hong, hong. By making that tiny little mistake, instead of saying red, you're actually saying boom or rumble. You can just imagine the kind of confusion that could cause, right? The difference between hong and hung is literally the difference between a color and an explosion. In Mandarin, tones are not optional, they're everything.
All right, this is where we take our understanding to the next level. From language to culture, because knowing the word is step one, but knowing what that word means within a culture, well, that's true fluency. In China, colors aren't just descriptions. They are packed with thousands of years of symbolism, history, and social meaning.
Now, getting this cultural context is absolutely essential, especially if you ever plan on living or working in a Chinese-speaking place. Red, or a hong, is the color of good luck, joy, celebration. You see it everywhere during Chinese New Year, and it's the traditional color for a wedding dress. It's just overwhelmingly positive. Yellow, or huang, on the other hand, is a bit more complicated. Historically, it was the most prestigious color, the color of the emperor, symbolizing power and royalty. But, and this is so important for every student to know, in modern everyday Mandarin, yellow, or huangse, has become slang for pornographic material. I mean, can you imagine telling someone you like yellow movies? You could get into some seriously awkward situations. This is a perfect example of why that cultural insight is just not negotiable if you want to communicate effectively.
Green and blue also have their own important meanings, though maybe with a little less historical drama. Green, 绿色, is deeply connected to nature, health, and harmony, ideas that are really valued in Chinese philosophy. So you'll see it used for organic products or environmental campaigns. And blue, 蓝色, has more modern associations. It gives a sense of calm, of trust, of stability, which is why, a lot like in the West, it's a favorite for tech companies and banks. It just carries less of that heavy historical baggage than red or yellow.
So, as we start to wrap up, I don't want you to just think about the 4 words we learned. I want you to think about the method we used to learn them. This way of analyzing things, this is a powerful tool that you can apply to your entire language learning journey. This is your framework, your path to really understanding. Don't just look at a character, take it apart, identify its building blocks. Then, figure out the story they're telling. Is it about silk? Is it about a plant? Then you master the sound, the tone, until it's just second nature. And finally, you always explore the cultural world that the word lives in. This 4-step process really transforms learning from a chore into an active discovery.
Today, we've really only scratched the surface by deconstructing 4 simple colors. But now you have the method. You have the tools to look at any character and ask not just, what does this mean, but why does it mean that? The entire language is like a giant puzzle just waiting for you to solve it. So the only real question left is, what are you going to uncover next?